You're not watching the lifestyle segment on the weekend show brought to you by Holo Crunch Popcorn. On today's lifestyle segment, we will be discussing the ASUU strike, and ASUU means the Academic Staff Union of Universities in Nigeria, which has been on strike since February. It started with a warning strike, which has continued till date. The Minister of Labour and Productivity, Dr. Chris Ngige, has said the government has done all it can do to ensure that the strike ends. The Minister of State for Education, who coincidentally has gotten a form and has chosen to run for president in the 2023 election, has also said the government has done all they can do. However, Nigerian students remain out of school. Unfortunately, from 1999 till date, we've had over 47 months of ASUU strike. When you calculate that, how long have Nigerian students been out of school? What's the implication? And what is happening with the educational sector in Nigeria? Having this conversation with me, I have Comrade Mujahid Shoaibu, who's the National President of the National Association of University Students. Good morning and welcome to the Weekend Show.
Good morning.
We know since I was a child, we've heard of ASUU strikes, ASUU strikes, ASUU strikes. I'm currently doing a PhD in a state university, which should take 3 years, and it's 4 years already, and there's no end in sight. How does this affect the Nigerian students?
Thank you very much. The incessant ASUU strike of 18 has been a tradition. Almost every year, ASUU are embarking on a strike on a regular basis due to the agreement with the federal government, and the federal government are yet to implement the agreement. And gradually, this ASUU strike of 18, it's killing the Nigerian educational system gradually. You see, as the result of the ASUU strike today, you see a 4 years course of study in the university, you end up spending 6 to 7 years. A 5 years course, you end up spending 7 to 8 years as well due to this ASUU strike. And gradually it's affecting the Nigerian students at large. Why? Because you calculated at a very young age, you got an admission into university. Maybe your course of study is a 4 years course. After the 4 years, the duration of the course, you go for your NYSC. At the end of it, you planned, you have a job. But due to this ASUU strike of 18, all your plans will be ruined and all in vain. So you see, sometimes the student, while studying, maybe at their 3rd year, maybe it's a 4 years course, they will apply for a scholarship, not knowing that the ASUU strike will cause them not to get that scholarship of 18. So directly and indirectly, this ASUU strike of 18 has been causing more harm to the student than good.
So Dr. Chris Uwajuba, who is the Minister of State for Education, has stated that a level of autonomy should be granted to the university where if they can control their funding, it means that it would reduce the strikes. But let's talk about the role of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. I've seen some states where they have pulled out of ASUU to continue because some of the demands at this point, the Nigerian government, in all fairness to them, has tried to have a conversation with the union to say, let's put an end to this. However, when we talk about the payment system, which the Nigerian lecturers and the union have asked for, do you think it is right for ASUU to choose how they want to be paid by government when it's the Nigerian government paying them? So for instance, they've asked that they don't want to be on the IPPIS system. There's a different system. Do you think it's a bit unfair of them to constantly demand for that, as opposed to agreeing with government to say, let's use the same payment structure, which weeds out ghost workers, which weeds out people who are meant to have retired but still in the system. Do you feel ASUU has a role to play in these incessant strikes?
Well, we met with the two parties, the Minister of State of Education, and as well as the Senior Minister, the Minister of Education, and as well as Minister of Labor and Employment. We heard from the angle of the government, and as well the leadership of NAUS also met with the leadership of the ASUU as well. So from initials, had it been the two parties are engaging us, the critical stakeholders, whenever their negotiation is going on, at least we can be able to at least suggest and find a landing solution to the whole of this problem to them. Because this agreement that the federal government came into, government is a continuity process. When this government came on board, they met the pending issue which the previous government agreed, the ASUU saga of 18. So when this government came, according to them, they tried their all possible best to meet up with the ASUU demands. And as well, they are still holding ground that ASUU are the ones still making it the negotiation so hard for them. Because according to the first-hand information that we have, because I'm talking based on experience because we met with the two bodies. So at least with the level of engagement that we had with the two parties, at least I can be able to say I know to some extent about what is going on between the two parties. But at the same time...
So what exactly is going on?
The first and foremost, this is the agreement which I have, the MOU which was signed from the year 2013 to 2020. The ASUU are actually demanding for 8 items, 7 items which I have here. The funding for revitalization of public universities, and academic allowances, staff school, NUPEMCO and pension matters, salary shortfalls, TSA exemption, and state universities. So among these 7 things that which ASUU are fighting for, it's for the good and benefit of universities. But what we are more concerned in the whole of these 7 points issues is the revitalization fund of 18. And currently, the negotiation is going on between them. But the major problem is the mode of the payment, which is the UTAS and the IPPIS of 18. This is the major problem. Because as I'm speaking to you, several times when they are meeting, they do meet at the NUC, which is the National University Commission, which the Professor Rashid, most of the times I do visit him, or sometimes he called me and briefed me, this is what is happening and this is the level of the engagement, because he's an observer of the whole issue. So the major problem is the mode of the payment. The government told us they are their employees, so you cannot tell your employee how you want to be paid.
Yes.
He will decide. Yours is to render the good services.
So why is that so hard for ASUU to accept? Because as Nigerians, we've complained about corruption in the system, and with some of their demands, ASUU demanding to be excluded from TSA. Do you feel, what benefit has ASUU been to the Nigerian students beyond themselves so far?
Well, if you check our universities nowadays, as the result of some of the infrastructures, many things that today we are enjoying in the university, are the result of ASUU struggle. So many things. That is why today ASUU stand on our own feet, that let the federal government do the needful and be funding this university so that the universities will be well equipped. Go to our classrooms, go to our lecture theaters, go to our laboratories. If you go today, some of them during their days, they were opportune and privileged that they got things so easier for them. Free tuition fees, some of them were giving money at the end of it. They maybe during the monthly allowances were given to them free of charges. And if you see the equipment, the laboratory, the libraries were well equipped. But today, if you go to our universities, reverse is the case. So this is one of the things that ASUU are agitating, that let the federal government do the needful and settled this whole issue so that our laboratories, our lecture halls and theaters will be well equipped, so that at least we can be able to at least be studying in a well equipped.
Okay, so I think that does shed some light, and so it will be unfair to say ASUU isn't really doing anything for the benefits of the student, because I went to a state university in Nigeria, and we still have most classrooms without windows, with poor electricity and the likes, and it's quite unfortunate that this revitalization fund is a conversation that's been going on since 2009. Yeah. So that I agree is important that this is done. However, the Nigerian students and unions, we've had NANS, we've had your types. Yeah. How are you people holding the powers that be accountable? You say sometimes you aren't called to the table, and students are vital stakeholders, but we're on social media every day and we're constantly speaking. How is your association holding both parties accountable to say, listen, we are suffering it while two elephants fight, the ground suffers, and in this case, it's the students. So how are you holding government and the ASUU accountable, and what do you advise other Nigerian students to do?
Okay. As to be honest with you, the Nigerian students are tired of this ASUU strike. Every blessed day, we are receiving series of complaints from individuals. To some extent, some of the students were even suggesting that let us continue with the protest we started, because we did several protests, and which one of it was when we were at the Ministry of Education, when we sat with the Honorable Minister, before he promised us that a committee of renegotiation would be set, which eventually 2 weeks after that same protest, the committee was inaugurated by him, and they had been sitting, but no result yet. And believe me, the media are misleading a lot of Nigerian students. Sometimes you come to the media will post that there is a current meeting ongoing at the Ministry of Labor, and why the student will be having hope that, okay, the federal government, we don't know, maybe they are being paid off to be spreading the news that meeting is going on. Why, to be honest, the meeting is not going on? Because just the day before yesterday, I came across a post that ASUU are going to meet with federal government. Immediately, it was on a WhatsApp platform. I was in the group, so some of our students shared the message with me. Then I decided not to talk public to the person who posted it. I respect him, sure. So then I sent him a DM that, please, what is your source of information that you are telling the student that meeting is going on? Then he said he got his source from the campus gist. Then I told him that As far as I'm concerned, as the president of all universities in Nigeria, there is no any meeting going on. And if there is meeting, I'm in Abuja, tell me where is the meeting going on so that we can at least go as an observers. Then immediately I chatted the ASUU president. Instantly he replied me that there is no such meeting.
Okay, so there is fake news, which is a problem which we've said, but I would like to absolve the media by saying it's not necessarily the media, but maybe social media and people spreading misinformation.
No.
But on the final note, it's common knowledge that the Minister of Education hasn't been in the country for quite a while. We have a Minister of State for Education who is present, but there's pretty much the absence of a Minister of Education. Do you feel that's a failure of this government and the Minister of Education, and do you feel that has influenced these incessant strikes with this administration?
Yes, to be honest with you, had it been the government is serious enough, I believe this ASUU strike is a minor challenge to them. If they are serious enough, it's something that if they want, and if they really want to end this strike, not to suspend this strike, because this strike has been a tradition, it's a continuous something since before we found ourselves where we are today. Just like you made mention now, the senior minister has not been on seat for a very long time, while the minister of the state is around. Let them invite ASUU. They should as well sit together, review this agreement. Let them check the possibilities and let them check the modalities. What is so important that would benefit and make the education sector grow? Let them implement that. Because the agreement, we agreed, yes, they are not the persons that key into it, but government is a continuity. What about the assets and the liabilities they inherit from the previous government? Are you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, but for that to happen, you need to have a sitting minister, and you need to have a president with the political will to say, if this minister is not around, let's remove him. The minister is currently serving his second term in absentia. And so do you feel that this minister should be removed? And I know you may not want to share your thoughts on that.
No, I feel I'm here on behalf of the students.
Yes.
And I'm speaking to protect our own interest. I'm not here to talk about any other personality or any person, but whatever I feel it is necessary for me to say it. Not in fear or favor of anybody. As well, I will say it. That is what I told you, that the government problem is not our own problem. Had it been, it is their own problem. Not even only the university are on strike. The Polytechnic, which is the Association of Polytechnic Students, which is the ASUU, I think they are on warning strike, or they are about to declare their own strike too. If you look at it, everything in general perspective, what the government are focusing on now is the general election.
Yes, which is unfortunate.
Yes, they don't care about what is happening or what the Nigerians are facing or anything. That is why I'm calling all the Nigerian students, because to be honest with you, from our own end, we are planning something and we are going to hit them hard. Believe me, you.
Legally? Like using the right
yes,
means
doing
and
yes, without violence, without anything. We had many peaceful demonstrations, which we want, because this government, the only thing they want to hear is a confrontation from persons. Some group of women were, I think 2 weeks back, if I'm not mistaken, they were at the National Assembly protesting. So whenever you're seeking for their attention, they don't value you or take you or something reasonable. But whenever he wants to confront them, that is when they give you listening ears, which is not supposed to be so. Look at the current situation that we are facing, especially the insecurity of a thing. That is why we are trying to avoid so many things. Because as I'm speaking to you now, a lot of Nigerian students, let me use the NSAS saga of a thing. A lot of persons I believe me, you, somebody like me and you, I'm sure we are not part of the NSAS, because I have no business with NSAS, because it did not affect me in any way. So I don't have any issue with that. But a lot of people now, like our students, look at the result of us not going to the universities. As the result of that, we're at home. A lot of crimes is happening. A lot of things, so many things. As the result of what? Because of the student don't have anything to do. Because the things is very unfortunate now. So that is why we are drawing their attention that, okay, sooner enough, it is very good for them to wake up from the sleep, so that at least they can save the Nigerian educational sector. Go to some advanced countries today now, like the UK, USA, Canada, and what have you. Most of those countries, you see, they are generating more income as the result of their educational sector, because of the foreign students are coming. Why can't us at least, even if international students cannot come to our various schools, why can't us utilize the resources that we have? Let them at least get a proper funding for our educational sectors. So what I'm trying to say here is, you see the students now, every blessed day, even as of yesterday I'm speaking to, a lot of students make some suggestions to us that, okay, let us have another protest, that at the result of, to the extent that even when this, we should even stop all the parties processes, all those their screening of within primaries at the result of, until our voice is heard. A lot of them will make many suggestions. When you come out to the street and be protesting, the next thing the government will say, you are being sponsored by the opposition. We are not doing any struggle to be paid by anybody, or rather we are doing it for somebody to take the glory. We are doing it for our own interest, for the younger generation, for us, because we are the next generation. They say we are the leaders of tomorrow. I think we are the leaders of today. Give us the mantle leadership, test us, we can be able to deliver. Most of us can be more good leaders than the current leadership. Some of them, what are they doing to improve the Nigeria economic at a large?
Comrades Mujahid Shuaibu, National President, National Association of University Students. It's been nice having you at the show. So much to unpack, but because of time, we'll have to put a cap to this. But we will be following this, and we do urge you people to hold the powers that be, both ASUU and government, accountable to ensure the future of the educational system and Nigerian students. To our viewers at home, that's the much we can take on this segment, but don't go away. We have more on the weekend show when we return.